Hey, today the developers just dropped the free Alpha Commander skin. We'll talk about the developers' response to the Flamethrower nerf. He also goes into detail about why they have struggled with content, and there's so much more I'll be going over in this video. If you'd like to support the channel, please hit the like button below by tapping the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Let's start off with the amazing news about the Alpha Commander. You can pick it up right now, completely free on Steam. I'll make sure to provide a link below so you can download it as soon as possible. However, if you're on PlayStation, you're going to have to wait for it to be released in 7 days. I know it sucks, but that's how things go when you're on console. The proof can be seen here in the announcements, and Baskinator wrote, Steam players missed the Alpha Commander set. Visit the Game Awards event page on Steam to unlock the TR-117 Alpha Commander armor early. The shiny green Alpha Commander set features the Medkit passive, which allows you to hold more stims and make each one's effect last a bit longer when used. This coveted set is made available again in partnership with the Game Awards for a full 7 days before its global unlock on all platforms. Note, if you have previously unlocked the Alpha Commander set, you will not be able to claim it again. What if I play Helldivers 2 on PS5? Don't worry, the armor will unlock for everyone in 7 days. Yep, unfortunately a total of 7 days, then you'll be able to pick it up. It will be rewarded to you in game, just like how the Constitution rifle was handed out. The question I have now is I wonder if they're going to hand out the blue armor from the pre-order edition at some point in the near future. Now, there's probably a high chance that's not going to happen, yet you never know, right? We didn't expect the Alpha Commander to drop recently, yet they dropped it anyway. Are you excited for this armor or not? Let me know your overall thoughts about it. Let's now talk about the newest Warbond. I know a lot of you are waiting for it patiently, right? But there might be some good news here because the developers just dropped some news about it. They said something about how the Warbond could release this month due to their cadence. Now, you'll see the post right here where this developer, Sefez, wrote, we have some people attending, so I think it's worth tuning in, and there might be some cool gaming announcements too. According to our previous schedule, there should be a Warbond coming out this month. Boom, there you go. So there's a good chance a gaming announcement will be made on Game Awards, possibly about the next Warbond, probably the new content as well. I'm sure there's going to be a lot to unpack there, as well as, all the other games that are being announced. So there's just a lot going on with this. And I can't wait to see what the Warbond will be. Is it going to be stealth? Is it going to be, maybe something else? So let me know what you think the next Warbond is going to be about. Post a comment below, and when it's announced, we'll see if your best guess is right or if it's wrong. I think it'll be fun to see who's right and wrong, so let me know. So sure, this right here could mean anything, right? There could be a Warbond announcement, there could also be some content and whatnot, but I have a feeling there's definitely going to be an announcement at the TGA. So you can see right here, Sefez wrote this in response to a player that asked if we can get any information, and Sefez wrote back and said, not a definitive answer, but I wouldn't personally want to miss out on TGA this year. We have some people attending it in person. Sure, this right here could mean anything. It could mean they're picking up an award, it's just, they're attending it. Who knows what the deal is, but I have a really good feeling that there's going to be some sort of content announcement. Not only just content, but also the Warbond, since that was kind of hinted previously. But yeah, dude, you guys should let me know what you think about it. I definitely believe there's going to be some content. Now, not only did he give a response about that on the Discord, but he also answered a question about the ragdolling. Now, I know that's a big issue still, and they're fully aware of it, and they're also working on it still. So you can see right here, Sefez wrote, yeah, we're still working on improving the ragdolling experience. Now, if you thought they had stopped, no, they're still working on it, and possibly in 7 days, because we know the skin's gonna drop, maybe they'll release a patch before then that will resolve the ragdolling issues. So that's something to look forward to. With that in mind, which enemy do you believe causes the worst ragdolling? Is it rocket striders still, impalers, perhaps the gunships when they shoot their rockets? Personally, I think rocket striders are still awful in terms of ragdolling and could definitely use some more work. Also, Sefez gave a response to a player about performance. Apparently, it's causing a big headache for the tech team, and that the content is sort of pushing back that a little bit. I also know this is another big problem whether you're on PC or console, but the good news is that they're still working on it. So with that said, the developer Sefez wrote this. It's a constant and ongoing effort to keep optimizing the game, and we keep making incremental improvements almost every patch. The tricky part is the introduction of new content keeps pushing us back. It's a constant headache for the tech team, but we're committed to improving the player experience no matter if it's content or performance. So without a doubt, there's got to be some content coming out sooner or later, and I can't wait to see what it is. But for the time being, we know that there's some problems behind the scenes when it comes down to performance issues. They're trying to get ahead of it, trying to make sure they can get on top of it and make sure everything's fine. But obviously there's some issues because they have to push the content out. And that's a big one. I guess, overall they're trying to improve it, and we'll see how that goes as time goes on. As of right now, they're trying to figure it out. We're going to put that aside and talk a little bit about a response from an Arrowhead developer named Safez about the Flamethrower nerf. And he also goes into detail about co-developers helping from another studio, and there's a bit more we're going to get into. Yet before we get into that conversation, let's start off with a response about the Flamethrower nerf, since the player asked Safez about it. Not only that, the same player asked all sorts of questions like where's the content, the update, and just a lot in one sentence, and Safez's response can be seen here, and the developer wrote, "I see your point, and it's complicated. The Flamethrower nerf was a combination of two separate bug fixes causing an unforeseen balance change that we didn't manage to properly notice in time. It took us 60 days to get together, come up with an action plan, and then enact, giving you the positive results that you saw. Sure, we could have done that faster, at the risk of stability, but we know that's been a recurring issue, so we try to work as fast as possible within our limits. We haven't had proper comms, and we only recently hired a marketing manager with the intention of increasing our external comms. We're currently discussing the format of a roadmap that makes sense for our game. Update is coming. I would love to do more streams and community engagements, and part of that effort is me being here. I hope that makes sense." We already knew that the Flamethrower nerf was due to a bug, yet I'm pretty sure we weren't aware that there was another bug with it, so that's interesting. Not only that, I also thought his response about the 60-day plan is justifiable, since they had to figure out what they were going to do instead of just rush into a plan. Can you imagine if they did rush all the way through? I believe that would have been disastrous, and the patch would have been undeniably broken. Anyway, as for the marketing manager, we also know about that from one of my previous videos, but we'll see if things improve in terms of comms over the next few weeks. I believe Helldivers 2 will get better overall as time goes on. We just have to have a little bit more patience. Now, there is a response from the same exact player here on the Helldivers 2 Discord that asked why it took so long for them to figure it out, as well as what's the point of a community manager team if they're not willing to respond or host streams at all. Basically implying what's their purpose essentially. Safez didn't have a response about the community managers, but he did respond about how the Arrowhead team have been receiving help from another gaming studio. You can see the proof here, and Safez wrote, "We've been trying to catch up with the absolute explosion of a launch, restructuring teams, switching over productions to a live service model, bring co-dev studios on board, adapting and utilizing the resources Sony provides us, and generally just changing our mentality at the studio. These things take time, and I personally feel like we're only just beginning to hit our stride." You can tell from the response that they picked up a few developers from another studio to help out with Helldivers 2, so I wonder if they're going to have any help with the vehicle situation or melee weapons, since those were highly requested features. Now, as for his response about why things took so long, it makes sense to a degree. I obviously don't work at a gaming studio, however I can't imagine that it would be overwhelming to have a game like Helldivers 2 become quite successful, then have to figure out how to keep the player base satisfied and alive by dropping content and updates. Of course, the balance updates at the beginning of launch really messed with their plans, since they had to figure out the 60-day plan to buff certain weapons and stratagems, as well as trying to revert certain things and make ragdolling not as annoying. So they had a lot on their plate, yet at the same time, it's their fault for how things went. But with that being said, they're trying to improve still, and I can't hate on that. On a different note, the developer brought up Sony in the last response, but he also replied to a player that asked about how their relationship is doing with Sony as of late. Apparently, Arrowhead considers Sony to be quite supportive and helpful in terms of trying to make Helldivers 2 a lot better. You can see Safez reply back with this: "We have a good working relationship with them. They give us incredibly high level of creative freedom and trust in our work. And they are very keen on supporting us as best as they can and providing us with resources we need. And I mean, yeah, sometimes there's frictions, like we saw with the PSN account linking issues, but they are receptive to our feedback and ready to work with us on solutions, which is great. So I hope that gives you some insight." It's a good thing that he brought up PSN Link. I'd like to see the block region issues be resolved next year because it's been a total roller coaster. It's just absolutely crazy that we've heard they've had talks with Sony about the block regions, yet we haven't heard a definitive answer on what's going on and why it's taken so long to figure that part out. Nonetheless, Safez brought up how Sony is very supportive by providing the devs with resources, so hopefully they're putting that to good use. We know they've recently created a content room for streaming and creating videos about Helldivers 2, Overall, I think it's great that they're receiving support still, and we'll see how things turn out for Arrowhead. Next up, let's go over the newest major order. There's possibly a hint in the briefing message that might give us an idea of what Arrowhead is planning on doing next for Helldivers 2. There's talks about weaponry in the message, as well as a new factory hub. If you check out the message here in game, it says, "The Ministry of Defense has awarded a multi-trillion supercredit contract to AIM Defense to expand production of high-quality military equipment for the Helldivers. AIM Defense has proven history of constructing top-of-the-line armaments for seaflying units, and their expansion to providing Helldivers weaponry marks the beginning of an exciting new chapter in the defense marketplace partnership. To begin this new chapter, AIM Defense will construct a massive, multi-complex factory hub on Akranar Sukunis, creating millions of exciting labor opportunities for Super Earth citizens." Alright, one thing I have to say about this major order real quick is that we can of course see the large building at the top, yet what sucks is we never see these type of buildings ever in game, and it's something I would love to see. For example, there was the Terminid park that had all the Terminids in electric cages, and we never saw anything like that in game. Personally, I enjoy seeing details like that because it feels like something happened instead of a briefing message describing what's going on, and then when we land, we don't see anything really. Anyways, I digress. It looks like Arrowhead could possibly be giving us brand new stratagems or weapons down the road eventually. I've seen comments about this, and a few players believe it will be weapon customization, and honestly, I don't think weapon customization is actually going to happen. Sure, there's leaks about it, but still, I don't think we're going to see that at all. With all that being said, this is your Helldivers 2 news. We're now going to check out the top 3 comments. If you guys would like to be featured, all you have to do is comment down below, and if you get enough upvotes, you might just be featured. The first top comment is by Halan TF2. "We don't want things from a Dungeons and Dragons type universe. Meanwhile, psionic illuminates using mind control and teleportation." Yeah, I agree. I thought it was kind of strange too because, you know, the Illuminates have their own type of thing going on. And of course, the whole entire game is sci-fi, so why wouldn't you have different ammo types and all that? Yeah, it was a weird comparison for sure. The second top comment is by Brandon. "Urban environments, new mission types, boss raids, vehicles, and that order, make it happen." Well, I'm sure that will happen. We just have to wait for them to cook properly, and maybe it'll happen by next year. Who knows? But yeah, we definitely need some new content. Last but not least, we have Hangaloran. This person said, "H seems the type of we made a reunion talk about our future reunions, about adding future new, about future content." Yeah, it's ridiculous, but you know, things will get better as time goes on, at least that's what I think, and we'll see if I'm right or wrong. Anyways, those are the top 3 comments. If you haven't done so already, give this video a like by tapping the thumbs up button, make sure you're subscribed, and turn on notifications so you do not miss out on the latest news. Also, you'll save a bunch of innocent civilians on Super Earth from being demolished if you give the like button a thumbs up right now. So tap the thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.